In this video, we're going to work through a few of the problems in assignment 5.2, still concerned with open and closed position voicing of triads. What's new in this exercise is that there's two triads in a row. It's the same chord, it's just one will be either open to closed position or closed to open position, as if the melody was changing notes. So let's take a look at our first example here. The key signature of 3 sharps tells us it's either A major or sharp minor. But because the instructions itself tell us that it's going to be in a major key, we don't really have to decide. It will be the major key, so A major, and there's an A in the bass, so this is the tonic chord and the tonic chord. But what's different is our soprano line is changing, which is going to cause our position to change. They've given you the voicing for the first triad here, and it's in closed position because there's less than an octave between the soprano and the tenor. So all we have to do is come up with a voicing for the second chord that has more than an octave or is in open position. And one way to do that would be to move the tenor down to the A, keep the alto on the E. We still have the right doubling. In other words, we have 2 roots. There's an A and there's an A. We have 1/3. There's a C sharp. And we have 1/5. There's the E. It may be helpful on the side or in your mind's eye at least to imagine the triad A, C sharp, E generically, not voicing it, but just imagining those are the snowman notes. There's the base of the snowman, there's the middle of the snowman, there's the head of the snowman. And remember, it's the bottom one that you need 2 of, the doubling. Okay, so that's number 1. Let's look at number 2. We've got a key signature of 2 flats, knowing that this has to be major. Our key signature here is going to be B flat major. And again, our triad generically is B flat, D, F. You should be able to spell a major triad in your head. B flat, D, F. And remember, we need 2 of these B flats. The first B flat major triad that's voiced for us is in closed position. Closed position because it's less than an octave. So we're going to put this next one, or at least we're going to try to do it in open position where we have more than an octave. Let's take care of the doubling. We'll put the B flat. Actually, we are going to keep them both in closed position because if I put a B flat here and a D here, I do have my doubling, right? I have 2 B flats and I have 1 D and 1 F. But in this case, it doesn't make sense to change position because we'd end up having cross voicing. We'd end up having to put our alto too low, or if these voices spread out so that there's more than an octave, we'd end up with some serious problems with more than an octave between adjacent voices, or we'd end up with our alto lower than the tenor. And if that happens, if this voice part was actually written a note lower than the tenor, it would end up being overlapping or cross voicing, and we don't want that. So in this case, it makes sense to keep them both in closed position. What's important is that we have the right doubling and that we don't have more than an octave between adjacent voices in the 3 upper voices. Okay, so that's number 2. Let's go to number 3. With all these sharps here, don't be scared, right? 7 sharps is the key of C sharp major, and we're going to label that C sharp major. And the first chord that's voiced for us is in closed position. We do have 2 C sharps, there they are, and then we have an E, then we have a G sharp. If it's helpful for you to write it out generically, it's C sharp, E sharp, G sharp. There's our snowman, or there's our triad, and remember we want to have 2 of the root. So in our second chord, we've already got the 2 C sharps, there they are. Soprano has C sharp, bass has C sharp. So all we need is a 1 E sharp and 1 G sharp. So let's give the E sharp to the alto and the G sharp to the tenor. And now we have an open position, more than an octave, voicing of that chord. Also in this exercise there are some minor examples. So let's do one of the minors. Number 6 is minor. And since we know it's a minor key, when you have 1 flat it could be F major, but it's also could be D minor. And with a D in the bass, this is the tonic chord. All right, and we've got our first voicing of this D minor chord, spelled D, F, A. Okay, this is closed position because we have less than an octave between the soprano and the tenor. Let's see if we can put it in open position. Well, if we keep the D here but put the F here, then we do have open position because we have more than an octave between the soprano and the tenor. And let's just make sure we have two of the D's. Let's see, there's one D, there's the other D. And let's make sure we have one F, there's the F, and one A. All right, so we do have a root and another root, we have a third, and we have a fifth. And that is a good voicing of that second chord.